Yes, guys, I hope we're doing very well. Welcome back to Chelsea Fan TV. We're going to be doing the player ratings. This is going to be a very, very quick episode because, to be honest with you guys, I just don't have any. I don't have any time at the moment, and you can see I'm in a different room today. I've been banished, but it's fine. We're going to make it work. We are going to go through all of the players at the moment and see who actually played well against Heidenheim, who didn't perform, or did everyone perform, and what did we actually learn from this game? So big up to everyone that's watching at the moment. Smash the like button if you haven't already. It does help a lot. And let's get straight into it. I mean, first of all, when I talk about the starting 11 in this game, I have to just say that, honestly, I didn't really have any complaints. I thought we rotated well. I was glad to see Mark Guiu in the squad. I was glad to see Dewsbury-Hall, Casady, as well as rotation pretty much everywhere in the team. One player that I was particularly happy to see, though, was this man right here. And to be honest, this should have happened a long time ago. I don't know how it hasn't happened yet. But listen, Jorgenson was absolutely fantastic in this game. He was sensational, guys. For me, I gave him man of the match because although Sancho had a very good game and he was fantastic, and you've got to give him as much credit as you can. He was, you can't take anything away from a player who gets 2 assists. I think that Jorgenson was really a catalyst for us winning this game. I'm really, really impressed with what I've seen from him. This was the game that we were all looking for. We were searching for this. We were looking for an excuse to say, you know what, Jorgenson, you are the man. You are the man for Chelsea Football Club. And here he is. Big up to Jorgenson. There is absolutely no question in my mind that this guy should be the #1 goalkeeper at Chelsea. He saved us countless times. I'm not talking okay saves. I'm talking fantastic saves, consistent saves, saves that you didn't have to worry about a follow-up. Distribution that was good on both sides, on his left foot and his right foot. There was only one iffy part of that game from Jorgenson, and that wasn't even really Jorgenson's fault. That was Badiashile. He did a terrible goal kick. He didn't even check to see if Jorgenson was ready. And then we almost, well, I think we did concede a chance from that. But the difference you see now is instead of seeing other players having a go at the goalkeeper, in this game, you saw Jorgenson having a go at his defenders and his midfielders. What are you doing? And that's the way it should be. It shouldn't be the other way around where the other 10 players on the pitch feel uncomfortable because of lack of stability in goal. It should always be that you feel comfortable as a defender, that your goalkeeper can cover his near post, that he can pass the ball to you when you want it, and it's going to be a good pass, and he's not going to put you into situations that's going to get the team in trouble. So Jorgenson, for me, man of the match. Absolutely fantastic from him. And I mean, listen, you can agree, you can disagree, but I think ultimately he was probably the best player for me. It's very rare that we give goalkeepers the praise they deserve. He deserves everything. He deserves a start against Aston Villa. I'm saying it right now. You're a goalkeeper. You don't need to be rested that much. Absolutely sensational. We also have in defense on the left side, Renato Vega, who I thought was really good in this game as well. Seems to do really well in games where we dominate possession. We're able to control things, and much more of a player that I want to see from the left, inverting rather than starting in the middle straight away. I think it just makes sense, guys. It makes sense. We did it in the Newcastle game in the Carabao Cup when we lost 2-0. We had Vega in the midfield with Enzo Fernandez. He's not a bad player in that position, but let's play players in their better position. I understand with Nkunku it's different, and there are players like that where you have to move them around a little bit, otherwise they won't get a chance, because Palmer's obviously going to start the majority of games, especially in the Premier League. But with Vega, he's great cover on that left-hand side. We don't need to invest in another player. We can offload Chilwell, get 200 grand off the books in the summer, and we'll still have no issues whatsoever. So for me, Vega, absolutely fantastic. Really, really happy with what I saw from him. I think his development's going very crisp, to be fair. I think he's having a great first season. And what a bargain. If you're going to sell him, you could get double what you paid for him. His value is probably about 20 to 30 million. So you can make profit if you want to sell him. The wage is going to be easy to offload, but I hope we continue to play him in this team, and I'm sure he's going to be a part of our plans going forward. So very, very happy with what I'm seeing from Vega. We then come into the centre-back roles. We've got Badiashile on the left side, a player who's written off. Absolutely written off. People saying this guy has no chance. He's never going to get into Chelsea's team again. I wrote him off in pre-season after the Madrid game. I mean, Jesus Christ. If anyone didn't watch that game, you need to watch the highlights of pre-season against Madrid to understand how fans like myself could be so angry with the player, because I felt like it was a lack of effort. And I still do, to be honest. That doesn't change because you can see it clear. But you know, that's not been his problem at Chelsea, really. I mean, he come in, he smashed the park straight away when he come in under Graham Potter. He continued to perform under Frank Lampard, and then he just fell off, really. He was never in favour under Pochettino, and it looked like he was going to be completely frozen out, maybe looking to offload this player as well. He's on 90 grand a week. He's not exactly cheap in the grand scheme of things when you got Gusto and other players on less than 50. So, yeah, I mean, from that perspective, a little bit harder to get rid of. But actually, he seems to fit into what Maresca is trying to do in that plan, which is much more than you can say for the other man on the right-hand side. Not the right centre-back. We'll go straight to Disasi, who, to be honest, I actually don't think he had a terrible game. I was in the studio not long ago with Lewis, Charlie, and Scott. They seem to think that he had a poor game. I mean, I spoke with them. I think that's a bit harsh. I don't think he had a poor game. I think I've certainly seen him play better. But, you know, he's not playing in his natural position. He's not a right back. So how can you expect him to play as a right back and play to the level that, you know, you would get from Reece James or you get from Gusto? I think that's just a bit harsh. Now, obviously, I know he's not going to be as good as those players. But you've also got to look at the performances we've seen in the past from Disasi as a right back. I don't think it was bad as when he was at Bournemouth away from home. I don't think it was as bad as Newcastle away. I think he had some good moments on the ball. Yes, we conceded possession. And defensively, we could have been slightly better, but we held that line very well. We held that line. That defensive structure was really, really good. So I was impressed with what I saw in that sense. I do feel like Disasi is going to be offloaded, though. He doesn't fit into the plan whatsoever. If we get another right back, or if Achimpong signs that new contract, I don't think we see Disasi playing in these games. There's no reason to play him. It doesn't make sense from a tactical point of view. It doesn't make sense for his personal development. And I think Chelsea just needs to take the L and say, you know what, we made a mistake here. Disasi would have actually worked really well under Pochettino. So it's not to say, you know, it wasn't a good signing at one point, but he doesn't suit Maresca's profile whatsoever. So, yeah, I mean, not his greatest performance, but I have seen a lot worse from Disasi. I've seen much, much worse. So anyone who wants to get on the bandwagon and criticize, that's fine. But let's not act like you've seen much better than that when Disasi's been at right back. We had Tosin on the other side on the left. I was really, really excited when he come in from who was it, Fulham? When he come in from Fulham, obviously we rivaled Newcastle for his signature. Tosin for me is a player that I think I overhyped him a little bit. I can accept that. That's fair, isn't it? But he has the leadership qualities that we need in this team. Does he have the ability to take that centre-back role by the scruff of the neck? No, I don't really see it, to be honest with you. I mean, people were saying earlier to me that we bought him to flip him on for a profit. I don't know if that's the case because he's on 120 grand a week. Who's going to pay that money? Maybe someone would do it. I don't know. I can't really think of anyone off the top of my head. But yeah, I thought Tosin had a good game. You saw a lot of good passes from the back line, creating chances for Nkunku and other players like that as well. I'm sure I've missed someone out, maybe Mark Gear as well, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, really, really good forward passing. The defensive line was very good, though. You've got to give the coaching staff credit. Individually, obviously, players can have good moments. But when you see a back line moving up and down all together, that's coaching. And I was really, really impressed with that. For me, We've got to give a lot of credit to Enzo Maresca and his coaching staff for the way we defended, because we could have easily conceded a couple of goals if it wasn't for that. If one player had been a little bit deeper than the rest, then we might not be talking about a 2-0 win. We could be talking about a draw or even a loss against Heidenheim. Moving up into the midfield, Casady. Now, the commentary that I was listening to on TNT Sports, one of the things they said is something I agreed with, to be fair. I would have liked to have seen Casady pass forward a little bit more, especially during the first half. But that's not to say he had a bad game at all. I thought he played well. I thought he was solid. You know, he didn't let himself down. He didn't let the team down. Even when you look at the second yellow at the end, it was very soft, wasn't it? Very soft. I think the referee was really trying to make a name for himself in this game. I mean, you could see in the first minute, not even the first minute, he's giving Badiashile a yellow card. He doesn't even touch the guy's face. He barely touches him, and the referee gives him a yellow card. I'm thinking to myself, what is wrong with the referees? What is happening in this world that referees think that this is the right way to initiate a game? Do you not have any common sense? There was no intention to hurt a player, nothing like that. So Casady, listen, anyone who wants to criticize him, he did get a second yellow, but I think overall he can hold his head high. It was a good performance from him. And I think it'd be interesting seeing what you guys have to say as well regarding Kieran Dewsbury-Hall, a player who I really like. I think that, yes, we got him on a slightly inflated transfer price. He was a direct replacement for Gallagher. I'm not going to sit here and say he's a better player than Gallagher, but I do think he's a better player for the system than Gallagher would have been. And for that reason, you know, I'm glad that we brought Dewsbury-Hall in. I think he's had some really good games against some pretty average sides if you're going to compare what we have in the Conference League and some of the smaller cup games. You know, he played really well against Barrow, did really well against Ghent. Probably the man of the match in that game. And I think he's progressed nicely in the Conference League. This is the competition for Dewsbury-Hall. I want to see him playing in this competition many more times. In every team, you need a player who is comfortable rotating, who is happy to rotate. And not that they accept it, because you want them to have a bit of ambition. But Dewsbury-Hall is good enough. But he's not good enough to punch through that wall of Enzo Fernandez, Lavia, etc. So, I mean, next season, it'd be interesting to see the dynamic in midfield, especially with the Nkunku coming back and Santos as well. But Dewsbury-Hall at this moment in time, I don't really have any complaints. I think he's doing what he was supposed to do. He's filling in the gaps when other players need to rest. You know, he was involved with the goals. He didn't get the assist, but he was directly involved in the goals, the build-up play. He does give the ball away at times, and I think defensively he could be better as well at times as well. I'd like to see him intercept a little bit more. But, you know, his work rate's there. It's his first season at Chelsea. I'm not going to sit here and slate the guy. I mean, Tommy says Dewsbury was a poor man's Gallagher. Gallagher's definitely a better player. I don't disagree with that. But Gallagher would have never played in this system. And that's why I'm not really against the signing of Dewsbury-Hall. Even if we didn't sign him, I don't think Gallagher would have had too much game time, to be totally honest with you. Moving on to the left side, the left wing, Mudryk, a player who never really got a run out from any manager at Chelsea. He would have a good game and then he'd get dropped. He'd score and then wouldn't come off the bench for a couple of games. Nobody knew how to manage Mudryk, but Maresca said Mudryk is Mudryk, or Misha is Misha, whatever it is. And we need to treat him, you know, we need to manage him the way that he needs to be managed. And do you know what? I feel like we've given Mudryk a stable platform. He's had stability, hasn't he? We know that he's going to play the majority of the games in this competition. I think that's benefited him massively. I think that he's looked much better for it. He's enjoying the fact that he's playing football, and he scored a great goal as well. Not to mention he was getting up there, making good runs, trying to whip balls in. He had some dangerous crosses at times when he tries to cut it back for players, created a few opportunities. But yeah, really good goal from him. He's got to have the best strike at Chelsea at the moment. I don't think there's another player in the squad who can actually hit the ball more solid than Mudryk when they hit it 100%. It's just so crisp, isn't it? It's brilliant. But yeah, really, really happy with him. I think Mudryk is certainly a player that's going to develop a lot. But one thing that we can say about the other side with Jadon Sancho that you don't have with Mudryk is Sancho's been out for a while. He's been injured. I think he picked up a little knock as well. And it's like he never left. I really believe that, if you would have started him over the past couple of games, that's what you would expect him to play like. But the fact that he'd been out for a while, that's why he was given the opportunity in this competition to just ease him back into it. But I don't think he let down. I think he was fantastic. Arguably our best player alongside Jorgenson. I mean, Jorgenson for me takes a very close man of the match spot. But if anyone wants to give man of the match to Jadon Sancho, I'm not here complaining. I'm certainly not going to argue it. I thought he was brilliant as well. So big up to Jadon Sancho. I thought he did fantastic. 2 assists in this game, but it wasn't just the assists. It was the link up, the dribbling, everything on that right-hand side, a position that I didn't know if I wanted to see Sancho in. Now I understand why people said, Alex, you don't know what you're talking about. He can play on the right-hand side. And I just thought on the left it would be better. But on the right, he can link up in a different way. Look, he's not the most pacey player, but when you've got that much technical ability, you need to make use of it. And he certainly did. Really, really impressed. Not just with the first goal, but the second goal as well. What he does is he lays it on a plate for these players to get into a position and score. And the only thing that you could probably criticize about Jadon Sancho's game is that you want to see him go for goal a little bit more. I don't want to see this guy constantly looking for assists. If there's a moment where you need to shoot, go out there, have a crack on goal. I've got no issue with it. And that's probably the main difference between him and Madueke is you've got one player who, let's be honest, is a little bit more selfish. And then you've got Sancho, who is the polar opposite. But you want to see those players just come a little bit more central, Madueke, look for the pass for Sancho, have a crack every now and again. And then you've got the perfect balance. Christopher Nkunku, for me, I thought, look, he did what he had to do. He scored a goal, but he should have scored at least one more. He had a one-on-one opportunity, maybe another chance that I've forgotten. Nkunku, I would have liked to have seen him score 2 goals in this game, but he still scored. So everyone that says, well, he's playing against poor opposition, he's still scoring. He's still scoring. Look, I know that we should be beating these guys. But you look at Mark Guiu, for example, he's getting loads of opportunities. They did not taking them. And then we say, well, can we have some more youth players starting in the team? Well, how are you going to get into the team if you've got Nkunku there, who is performing in this competition, who's already an established player? I think it's going to be very, very hard to move him out, of the Conference League squad. He's certainly knocking on the door of Premier League, although he did pick up a little knock, didn't he? So I hope everything's okay with Nkunku. I'm not 100% sure what the exact issue is, but yeah, I thought he played pretty well. I thought he was okay. Linked up well. This was the kind of game you want to see Nkunku in, but he should have probably got more than 1 goal. I mean, I said I would like him to score a hat-trick. If he would have scored 2 goals, then listen, you can't score a hat-trick every week, but 2 goals is solid, isn't it? But yeah, I would have liked to have seen another goal from him, maybe a little bit more clinical. Apart from that, not too many complaints. Mark Guiu, he looked bright, didn't he? He looked positive. He created a lot of chances for himself. He's got so much energy, but yeah, just doesn't work out for him. I think it's quite clear that he needs a loan, whether that's in the Championship. I don't think a Championship loan would do him badly. I suggested Coventry, but people were telling me Coventry strikers are too good. You wouldn't be able to drop them for Mark Guiu, but maybe a Championship loan. I don't think that lower level English Premier League team is the right option at the moment. Maybe there's some availability in Strasbourg. If anyone watches that team regularly, let me know. We should have a loan spot available for that. But yeah, I don't have any big issues with Guiu, but I think it's fairly obvious he needs to leave the club just to get more minutes, really, build that confidence. João Felix came on. Didn't really see too much from him, but nice to see him coming on, getting some more minutes. That's what he wanted. That's what he's got. So fair play to him. We saw Chukwuemeka come on as well, not really making much of an impact. I think Chukwuemeka, it's quite clear that you're going to see him leaving the club, which is unfortunate, to be honest with you. But that's the harsh reality, isn't it? If you're not going to get minutes, then why would you stay at this club? And I think Chukwuemeka is good enough for a club like Chelsea, just not in front of Cole Palmer or Nkunku, to be honest with you, in that position. I think you could probably see Nkunku challenge João Felix, but Felix is way down the pecking order, which means Chukwuemeka is not really even in the conversation. So I think we're going to see him leaving. But listen, guys, it was only a short one today because I have to go straight back to work. But I thought I'll jump on, I'll do a quick live. So I hope you enjoyed it. I sped through it as quickly as I can. Apologies for not being able to stay longer. Big up to everyone that's watching. If you haven't smashed the like button already, please do. And check out the sponsor, Omely. I'm going to be doing a show on there later today. I'm going to be going live on Omely. All the best, guys, and we will catch up very, very soon. I'll be doing a call-in show later as well, so feel free to jump on there this evening.